My child, you are extremely lucky to see this, but I must tell you the truth before another moment passes. Luck had nothing to do with it. This was not a coincidence. This was not an accident. Heaven aligned time itself to bring your eyes to these exact words, and I need you to understand what that means before you read another line. You did not stumble across this message. I guided your hand. I guided your spirit. I moved in the unseen realm to place this intersection of your time and my voice precisely here, in this moment, in this particular breath of your day. That is not a small thing, my beloved. That is an act of deep and deliberate intentionality. Stop right here. Do not rush. Do not let the restless habits of your mind convince you that you have already heard this before, that this is just another message in a long stream of noise. What I am about to say to you is unlike anything that has landed in your ears in a very long time. What I have to release over your life today is specific to this hour. I am speaking to you today because something has been building in the unseen realm around your life. A shift that you have not been able to name. A stirring that has made you feel restless even in familiar places. A sense deep inside you that something is about to change, though you cannot yet see what or how or when. That stirring is not your imagination. That stirring is mine. If you rush past this moment, if you skim through these words without letting them settle, if you allow distractions to pull you away before I finish what I have come to say, you may miss the very thing you have been crying out for in the quiet of your most broken hours. Stay with me. Give me your full attention. I promise you will not regret it. There is something I have been preparing in the unseen realm specifically for you, something you have been waiting for without realizing you were waiting. And today, that preparation breaks through the surface of your ordinary life and becomes something you can receive. But you must be awake enough, present enough, open enough to hold what I am about to place in your hands. I know how tired you are, not the kind of tired that disappears after a good night of sleep. I am talking about a tiredness that has settled into the marrow of your courage, a heaviness that greets you before you even open your eyes in the morning, a weight that follows you through your days and does not lift even on the good ones. You have been carrying things in silence for a long time now, things you have not spoken aloud to anyone, because putting them into words would make them too real, and making them too real might break you in ways you are not sure you could recover from. So you have tucked them away, folded them into the quiet corners of your chest, and kept moving forward because stopping felt more dangerous than continuing. I see you, my child. I see the face you show the world and the face you wear when no one is watching. I see the version of you that smiles on cue and says you are fine and means it just enough to keep going through the day. And I see the version of you that sits in the silence after everyone has gone and lets the real weight settle back down onto your shoulders when you no longer have to pretend. There are nights when you lie in the dark and the silence feels too loud. Nights when the questions circle back like they always do, the ones you have almost stopped asking because asking them hurts too much. Why is this so hard for me? Why does my best effort never seem to be enough? Why do I carry this feeling of being alone, even when I am surrounded by people who claim to love me? I heard every one of those questions, my beloved. I heard them when you whispered them into the ceiling of your bedroom. I heard them when you only thought them while driving in silence with the music turned off. I heard them when you buried them so deep that you told yourself you had moved on and were fine. I heard every quiet version of your pain. You have been the strong one for so long, the one who shows up regardless of how you feel, the one who gives and holds the broken pieces of other people together, even when you yourself feel like you are held together only by the thinnest thread of sheer willpower. And most of the time, no one sees what that costs you. But I do. I have always seen it. I know about the moments you have cried without making a sound. I know how you have hidden your exhaustion behind humor, behind busyness, behind the practiced performance of having it together. I know how heavy it is to carry your own needs in silence while pouring yourself out for everyone else, without anyone thinking to ask if you are all right. And I know about the restlessness, the quiet stirring in your chest that does not have a clear cause. The way you sometimes feel a pull towards something more, something deeper, something you cannot name but cannot ignore either. That is not confusion, my child. That is not anxiety without origin. That is your spirit recognizing that it was designed for a purpose that runs deeper than the life you have been living. You have asked why the doors that looked perfectly shaped for your life suddenly closed without explanation. You have asked why the people you trusted with your tender heart walked away without the care that your care deserved. You have asked why the path that seemed so clear suddenly became fog and you could not find the edges of the road anymore. I am going to reveal the truth behind every one of those closed doors, those silent prayers, those seasons of delay that felt more like abandonment than protection. But I need you to understand something first, before I open that revelation to you. Nothing that has happened in your life has been random. Nothing has been careless. Every single moment has been held in my hands, especially the painful ones. The painful ones most of all. I need you to hear me carefully right now. Something in the unseen realm has been tracking the weight you carry. Something has been cataloging every night you spent in the dark fighting alone, every morning you rose before your courage was ready, every act of silent faithfulness that no human eye witnessed or celebrated. None of it has been lost. Not one moment, not one tear. Pause here, my beloved. Let that land in the deepest part of you. Let the truth of what I just said reach into the corners of your heart that have felt like the effort was invisible, like the sacrifice was silent and unrecorded. I have a record. I have held every single moment, and I am about to show you what I have been building with all of it. You are not invisible to me. You have never been invisible to me. The silence you experienced in certain seasons was not the silence of my absence. It was the silence of a deep and careful work being done beneath the surface of your life, a preparation you could not see from where you were standing, but that I have been overseeing with absolute and unwavering attention. And that preparation is reaching its completion point. That is why this message exists in your path today. That is why heaven moved to align your eyes with these words in this specific moment. Something is about to break through the surface of your life, and I need your heart to be open enough to receive what is coming, not just to survive it, but to step into it fully. My child, before I take you deeper into what I have been preparing, I need you to do one thing. Breathe. Let your shoulders drop. Let the gripping in your chest release just a fraction. I am not here to add weight to what you are already carrying. I am not here to demand more from you than you have already given. I am here to bring something to you, and that is a very different kind of visit. You are in the right place. You are at the right time. You are not late to anything I have prepared for you. The enemy has been whispering that you missed your window, that your season passed while you were not looking, that the opportunity left without you. Those are lies. I am telling you today with complete authority over every one of those lies. Your season has not passed. It is arriving. Something is getting ready to happen in your life. I need you to feel that in your spirit, not just read it as words on a surface. There is a movement happening right now in the unseen realm around your situation, around your family, around your future, around the places where you have waited the longest and hoped with the most fragile kind of hope. Something is being loosed. Something is being opened. The next part of what I am going to say is the part I need you most to hear, because what comes next is where the truth gets specific, where it stops being general and becomes about your particular life, your particular pain, your particular prayers. I need you awake for this. I need you present and leaning in. Stay with me, my beloved. What I am about to reveal will change the way you see everything that has happened to you. I saw you. I was there in every moment you thought you were alone. I was there when the silence felt so thick it had a weight of its own. I was there when you sat very still and let the exhaustion wash over you because you did not have the energy left to pretend anymore, not even to yourself. I was there in every one of those moments, and what I saw in you was not failure. What I saw was the quiet, fierce, unbreakable faithfulness of someone being prepared for something enormous. I saw you when you cried in the dark and hoped no one would notice. I saw you when you woke in the middle of the night with your heart beating too fast and your mind flooded with every unsolved problem pressing in at once. I saw you when you sat in your car before going inside because you needed just one more minute to gather yourself before facing the world again. I was there in every one of those moments, my child. I saw you when you held your chest because the pain was too large for words and had nowhere left to go. I saw you fold your hands together in the silence of your room and pray with a voice that had grown small from so much unanswered waiting, not knowing if anyone was listening, but reaching anyway because the reaching was all you had left. I saw that reach, and it moved me deeply. I saw you when you convinced yourself that your own needs did not matter as much as everyone around you, when you placed your own hunger and your own weariness at the bottom of the list again and pressed forward to meet the needs of others before your own soul had been fed. I saw you doing that quietly and consistently, without complaint, without recognition, without anyone ever thanking you for the particular kind of sacrifice that selflessness requires. I saw you on the days when the grief came back without warning, when something small triggered a wound you thought had healed, and you had to retreat somewhere private to let it wash over you before you could return to the surface of your ordinary life. I saw you learning again and again how to keep going after being broken, and the resilience you built in those moments is something I placed inside you for this exact season you are entering. I saw you when the people you leaned on were not there, when the support you needed was absent in the moments you needed it most, when you reached out and found empty space where you had expected something solid. I saw how you steadied yourself in those moments, how you reached inward when outward was not enough, and how you found reserves of strength you did not know you had. Those reserves were mine. I placed them there for you. I saw every moment of secret faithfulness that no one else recorded, every time you chose kindness when cruelty would have been easier, every time you kept your integrity when compromise was closer, every time you showed up for someone who would not have shown up for you. Every act of quiet goodness that disappeared into the unremarkable surface of an ordinary day. I saw all of it, and I counted every single one. You are not who the enemy has been trying to convince you that you are. You are not the sum of your delays and your disappointments and your moments of doubt. You are a carefully formed work of extraordinary intention, and what I have been building in the unseen realm around your life has been designed specifically to match the weight of your destiny. Now listen closely, my child, because I am about to open something to you. I am about to reveal the truth behind the seasons that broke you, and the doors that closed, and the prayers that seemed to go unanswered for longer than you felt you could bear. And this truth is going to shift the way you see not just your past, but everything that is in front of you. The delay was never punishment, the silence was never abandonment, and the pain you walked through was never wasted. What I have been doing in the long seasons of your waiting is something that could not have been rushed, something that required the exact amount of time it took, something that I was preparing not just for you, but through you, for purposes that reach far beyond the borders of what you can currently see. Think about Joseph, my child who was thrown into a pit by the very brothers who were supposed to love him, sold into slavery and carried far from everything familiar, imprisoned on a false accusation when he had done everything right. For years, the silence of his story looked like abandonment. It looked like everything was going wrong in permanent and irreversible ways. But I was not absent. I was working in the darkness of that pit, and in the loneliness of that prison, and in the long silence between promise and fulfillment. I was placing Joseph exactly where he needed to be, building in him exactly what he would need, routing him through exactly the roads that would eventually bring him to the place where he would have the wisdom and the position to save the lives of millions, including the very brothers who had betrayed him. What looked like abandonment from inside the pit was preparation from my vantage point. What felt like the end of the story was actually the middle of something I had been writing from before Joseph was born. The closed doors were not the conclusion, they were the corridor, and he walked through every dark corridor while holding onto a faith that wavered and bent but never finally broke. That is exactly what you have been doing. The closed doors in your life are corridors, my child, not conclusions. Every single place where the road seemed to end and leave you standing in fog was actually a redirection into a passage that would shape you for something your current situation alone could never have prepared you for. I know how hard that is to feel from inside the fog. I know how impossible it sounds when the pain is immediate and the purpose is invisible. But you are standing right now at the edge of a revelation that is going to make those corridors make sense. You are reaching the end of the passage. The thing I have been building in the unseen realm, while you were walking through the darkest stretches of your story, is about to be visible. And it is going to be larger than you expected, more specific than you hoped, and more perfectly suited to who you are than anything you could have designed for yourself. Do you feel something shifting right now as you read these words? Do you feel that mix of hope and aching vulnerability in your chest, that combination of wanting so much to believe this and being almost afraid to in case it does not hold? That is not weakness. That is your spirit recognizing something true. That trembling is not the trembling of someone who cannot be trusted with a breakthrough. That is the trembling of someone standing at exactly the threshold I have been moving them toward all along. Let me tell you what the enemy has been doing while I have been preparing your breakthrough, because understanding his strategy is part of understanding your story. The enemy is not fighting your present situation. He is terrified of your future. He does not attack you because you are failing. He attacks you because he can see what I am about to release into your life, and he knows that once it arrives, his influence over your story will be broken in ways that cannot be undone. The intensity of the attack tells you the significance of what is coming. Every season of exhaustion you have been pushed through, every wave of self-doubt that arrived at the exact moment you were about to step forward, every relationship that was used to wound you in the precise places where your identity was being formed, these were not random afflictions. They were strategic. The enemy was trying to break you before I could finish building you, but he miscalculated one thing, my beloved. He underestimated the depth of what I placed inside you before you were born. And now the season of his interference is ending. The thing he was trying to prevent is no longer preventable. The breakthrough he spent so much energy blocking is arriving through doors he cannot lock and by roads he cannot close. What heaven has authorized for your life in this season cannot be stopped by the enemy, cannot be delayed by circumstances, and cannot be withheld by anyone who tried to stand between you and what belongs to you. Breathe that in. Let your chest expand with it. You are not someone who is waiting for mercy. You are someone in whose life mercy has already been at work for longer than you realized, and what is about to become visible is the evidence of everything that mercy has been building without your knowledge. The waiting is ending, the arriving is beginning, and I am with you in every step of it. Now let me tell you who you really are, because everything I am about to release into your life flows through the truth of your identity. If you do not know who you are, the provision I am placing in your path will pass through your hands without landing. You need to hear this with every part of yourself fully open and fully present. You are not an accident of creation. You are not someone who ended up here by chance. You are a work I have carefully and intentionally formed. Before the foundations of the world were set in place, before your parents existed, before the land you were born on had a name, I knew you. I designed you. I chose the specific combination of experiences and gifts and wounds and resiliences that would make you exactly who you need to be for the purpose I assigned to your life. You are a cycle breaker. You were sent into the lineage you carry to be the one who stops the generational patterns that have traveled through your family like an inheritance of pain. The dysfunction, the fear, the poverty of spirit, the repeated wounds that ran from generation to generation were meant to end with you. You are the one I chose to interrupt that cycle and to walk in a freedom that will become the inheritance of those who come after you. You are a light bearer. In the rooms where you exist, in the relationships where you are present, in the quiet corners where you have allowed people to be seen by you, you carry something that pushes back darkness without requiring any effort from you. Your presence changes the atmosphere of a room. Your compassion changes the direction of pain. That is not a coincidence of your personality. That is the signature of the purpose I placed in you. You are not someone who is barely surviving an ordinary life. You are a warrior in a spiritual battle of enormous significance, and the weariness you have felt is not a sign that you are losing. It is a sign that you have been fighting with everything you have for a very long time, and the fight is about to change in your favor in ways you are not expecting and cannot fully predict from where you currently stand. Take that identity into you right now, not as a pleasant thought, but as a reality, not as an encouragement you receive and then forget, but as the foundation on which everything I am about to show you will rest. You are chosen, you are formed with purpose. You are not behind, and you are not too broken, and you are not too late. You are exactly where I placed you, and you are exactly who I designed you to be. And what is coming next in your story is going to prove every one of these things with undeniable clarity. The restlessness you have been feeling is not random. It is the feeling of a spirit that senses movement in the unseen realm before the movement becomes visible in the natural world. That stirring you have been carrying is not anxiety. It is the feeling of transition. It is the feeling of a season ending and a new one beginning to press against the membrane between invisible and visible, and it is pressing through right now in this exact moment. I know that the waiting has been long, my beloved. I know that the distance between the promises I placed in your spirit and the visible reality of your life has sometimes felt like a canyon that no amount of faith could bridge. I know how many times you have held on to a hope and watched it bend under the weight of reality without the evidence arriving to confirm it. I know how exhausting that kind of hope can be, the hope that refuses to die even when it has very little to feed on. But that hope was not a delusion. That hope was a signal I placed inside you, a directional pull that was meant to keep you oriented toward something real, something I was preparing, something that has always been coming even when it could not yet be seen. And I am telling you now that what you have been hoping for has been real all along. The provision is real, the breakthrough is real, the shift is real, and it is here. Hold your breath for a moment with me. Because I am about to take you into the deepest part of what I have been preparing to say to you. The part that will change not just how you see your story, but how you carry yourself through everything that comes next. The part that will settle a question you have been living inside of for far too long. The question of whether any of this has been worth it, whether the faith was justified, whether the holding on was wise. The answer is yes, without reservation and without qualification. Yes, everything you held on for was real. Everything you hoped in was true. Every prayer you offered up in the silence of your most private surrender was heard and held and worked into the fabric of something I have been building for you since long before you understood you needed it. Yes, my child, all of it. Every last trembling yes you chose when no would have been easier. It was all worth it. I want to speak now about the shift that is happening in your life right now in this very season. Because this is not a general word I am sending out into the atmosphere to land on whoever happens to need it. This is a specific declaration spoken over your specific situation, authorized from heaven and delivered to your specific attention in this exact moment for a very specific reason. The chains that have held you in place are breaking. The limitations that have defined the borders of your life for longer than you should have had to accept them are being pushed back. The agreements the enemy made over your story are being voided. The ground that was taken from you in previous seasons is being reclaimed. What was spoken over you as a curse is being reversed. What was used against you as a weapon is being turned around and made into a testimony. I am aware that those are large claims. I am aware that you have heard words of hope before and watched them dissolve before they reach the ground of your lived experience. I understand the cautiousness that previous disappointment has built into your spirit, but I need you to hear me very carefully right now. What I am declaring over you today is not a possibility. It is not a maybe. It is not dependent on your performance or your worthiness. What I am declaring is a decision I have already made in the unseen realm, a decree that has already been spoken in heaven and is now moving through the atmosphere toward the visible circumstances of your life. What I am releasing over you does not require your perfection to arrive. It only requires your open hands and your willingness to receive what I have already determined to give you. So open your hands right now, my beloved. Open your spirit. Release the grip of self-protection that has kept you in a defensive posture for so long. Release the habit of bracing for disappointment that every previous wound trained you into. Let the guard come down for just this moment, because what I am about to place in your life requires the kind of open receiving that a closed and defended heart cannot do. The loneliness is ending. The isolation that the enemy used to keep you from your people, from your purpose, from the community of souls who were meant to carry something with you, that isolation is ending. I am bringing the right people into your life. Not people who need you to perform or produce, but people who will recognize you. People who will sit with the fullness of who you are without asking you to make yourself smaller for their comfort. You are going to be known, really known, not just approved of, not just useful to others, but genuinely and specifically known. And that knowing is going to be one of the most healing things that happens in the next season of your life, because you were built for it and you have been without it for too long. The community that is coming was designed specifically to meet that need in you in ways that will undo years of loneliness in a relatively short span of time. I am building something with you that extends beyond your own life. The freedom I am bringing you will become a road that others walk to freedom. The healing I am working in you will become the language you speak that helps heal others who have carried the same wounds. The testimony I am preparing in your life will reach people who would not otherwise have a reason to believe that what I am saying today is true. Your story matters for more than just you. Do you understand what I mean by that? Can you feel the weight of it? You are not just a person trying to survive your own life. You are a vessel carrying a light that I intend to use far beyond the borders of your personal experience. The difficulty of your story was not disproportionate. It was exactly proportionate to the breadth of what I am going to do through the life you surrender to me in this moment. That is why the enemy worked so hard against you. That is why the attacks were so relentless, why they came from so many directions, why they targeted your identity and your hope and your relationships and your peace with such persistence. He was not trying to make you miserable simply for the sake of misery. He was trying to stop something he could see was coming. Something I have been building in you and through you and for you for a very long time. But he failed. He made you weary, but he did not break you. He made you doubt, but he did not make you quit. He wounded you, but he did not destroy you. He took things from you, but he could not take the thing he most wanted to take, which was the quiet, stubborn, nearly unkillable hope that something real and good and true was waiting on the other side of all this. That hope was a gift from me, a seed I planted in you that was designed to survive everything the enemy could throw at it, and it survived. You are here because it survived. You are reading these words because somewhere in you, even through everything, you never completely stopped believing. And that belief, that tenacious and long-suffering and beautiful faith you have been carrying through every hard season, is exactly what I am about to honor in ways that will leave you speechless. My beloved child, this is the moment. This is the arrival of what you have been waiting for, not wrapped in the packaging you expected, perhaps, but it is here, and it is real, and it is yours. And I am with you in it completely and permanently, and with a love that does not have a condition on it that you could ever fail to meet. Stand up straight, my child. Lift your head, let the weight fall from your shoulders. Not because the circumstances are all resolved, but because the one who holds all circumstances in his hands is speaking to you right now with complete authority and complete love. You are not facing what is ahead of you alone. You are facing it with the full resources of heaven deployed specifically on your behalf. The chains that bound your ancestors are breaking with you today. The patterns that ran for generations through your family line, repeating and leaving damage behind in each generation, are being interrupted by the authority I am exercising through your surrender and your faith. You are not just being freed, you are becoming a freedom that will outlast you. The prophecy I spoke over your life before you were born is being fulfilled, not eventually, now, in this season. The words I spoke over your existence before you had a voice to speak back to me are coming to their visible fulfillment in the days that are immediately in front of you. Not in a distant future you will have to wait through more suffering to reach. In the days that are coming toward you right now, lift your eyes, beloved. What I am about to speak over you is the declaration of heaven over your specific life, your specific future, your specific calling. And when I speak, what I say becomes. When I declare a thing, it is established. When I release something over my child, no force in existence has the authority to stop it from arriving. This is me speaking, and this is what I say over you now. You are healed in the places that have been broken for too long. You are free from the weight that was never yours to carry. You are restored to the fullness of what I designed in you before the wounds narrowed you down. You are filled with the peace that I now place inside your chest as a permanent resident that circumstance cannot evict. You are loved with a love so complete and so specific that every part of your history is held in it without exception. You are entering a new season. A season of visible evidence for the invisible faithfulness you have been practicing in the dark. A season where the things built in hidden places will begin to show up in the public spaces of your life. A season where people who have watched you struggle will watch you flourish and be changed by what they witness. A season where your testimony becomes the very thing that saves someone else from the darkness you walk through. This is my word over your life right now, my beloved. Not a possibility, not a hope I am offering you to consider. A declaration. A decree, a spoken word released from my mouth into the atmosphere of your existence, and it does not return to me empty. It accomplishes what I send it to accomplish, and I am sending it to accomplish everything I just described in your life beginning now, in this moment, in this breath. Do not be afraid of what is coming. I know that after long seasons of difficulty, the arrival of something good can trigger a reflexive fear that it will be taken away, that you do not deserve it, that there must be a catch. Those fears are the residue of the wounds you have been healing from. They are not truth, they are not prophecy, they are not a warning from me. They are the last whispers of an enemy who has lost his case and is trying one final strategy to keep you standing at the threshold instead of walking through the door. Walk through the door. Walk through it with everything you carry, with every doubt and every question and every place that is still healing. You do not need to be completely whole before you walk into what I have prepared for you. You only need to be willing. You only need to take the next step with whatever you currently have in your hands. I will meet you in the motion. Now I want you to receive something specific from me in this final moment, not after you have done anything else, not after you have been good enough or tried harder, right now. As you are, with every mixture of hope and skepticism and desperate need that is moving through your chest right now, I want to give you this. Peace. Real peace. Not the peace that requires your circumstances to be resolved. Not the peace that waits until the questions are answered and the enemies are defeated. The peace that I described long ago as a peace that passes understanding. a peace that cannot be logically justified given the facts of your situation, but that is present anyway because it comes from my presence and not from your circumstances. Receive it now. Let it move through the tight places in your chest. Let it reach the parts of you that have been holding on so hard for so long. Let it rest in the parts of your mind that have been working overtime to calculate solutions and prepare for every possible outcome. You do not have to figure everything out before you can rest in me. Let the peace come. Let it come all the way in. Breathe it in slowly. Feel the weight beginning to lift, not because your circumstances have changed in this moment, but because you are no longer carrying them alone. You have never been carrying them alone. But right now, in this moment, you are more aware of that truth than you have been in a very long time, and the awareness of that truth is itself a form of freedom. I am releasing a blessing over you right now, a blessing that covers every area of your life that has been under pressure, every relationship that has been strained, every door that has been closed, every resource that has felt insufficient, every dream that went quiet in the long seasons of waiting. I am placing my hand on each of these areas and speaking life into them with the full authority of who I am, and what I speak over you is not a wish. It is a done thing in the unseen realm. I am not leaving. I have never left, and what I am about to do in your life will make that permanent presence undeniable. The proof is coming. The evidence is on its way. The visible confirmation of everything I have been doing invisibly in your life is arriving, and it is arriving in a form that is so specific and so personal that it will be unmistakable. You will know it was me. You will look back at this moment and understand exactly why I placed this message in your path today. Your story is not over, my child. The most important chapters of your life are not behind you. What you have walked through was not the point of your life. It was the preparation for the point of your life. And you are now standing at the exact threshold where the preparation hands off to the purpose. This is your moment. This is the day I have been working toward through all those long corridors of your story, and I am here with you in it, right now, completely and permanently. Walk forward, not with all the answers, not with all the courage, not with all the certainty you wish you had. Walk forward with what you have. Walk forward with the trembling faith that has kept you here through everything. Walk forward with the willingness to receive what has already been authorized for your life. Walk forward into the season I have been preparing for you with a love that is beyond your capacity to fully understand, but that you are entirely capable of receiving. Heaven is for you, my beloved. I am for you. Every force of goodness and grace and provision in the unseen realm is aligned on your behalf right now, not because you have earned it, not because you have performed well enough to deserve it, but because you are mine. Because I chose you, because I have been walking with you through every corridor of your story, and I am not stopping now, not when you are this close to everything I promised. You are the luckiest person who opened this today. Not because chance favored you, because I chose you to receive this word at this moment, because heaven tracked the cry of your heart across the noise of your ordinary days and found the exact right intersection to place this voice in your path. You did not find this. I brought this to you because you matter to me, specifically, permanently, without condition. You matter to me. If this word from my heart landed in yours today, if something in you felt the truth of what I spoke, move through the tight and defended places of your spirit and begin to loosen what has been held too tightly for too long, I want to ask something of you right now, not as a transaction, not as a condition for the things I declared over you. Those declarations are already yours. What I am asking now is simply a response of your heart to mine. Type the word Amen in the comments below. Let it be your agreement with everything I have spoken over you today. Let it be your declaration that you receive what I have released. Let it be your quiet yes, spoken back to me after all the long months and years of reaching towards something you could not yet see but could not stop believing in. Let your amen be the sound of a spirit that has chosen to walk through the door. And if this message touched someone you know, someone who has been carrying the same quiet weight, someone who has been fighting the same invisible battles in the silence of their own life, share this with them. Not just as a kindness to them, but as an act of the calling I placed in you. You are a light bearer. You carry something that pushes back darkness wherever you go. Use it for the people around you who need it right now. Like this message, if my voice reached you today, subscribe so you do not miss the next time I have something to speak over your life. Let every act of engagement be your yes to the season I am opening before you. You are not forgotten, you are not late, you are loved, and you are exactly where I placed you. at the exact right moment to receive everything that heaven has been holding in reserve for this hour of your life. Amen, my beloved. Amen.